Uh, Hey everyone, welcome to our coaching call. And it's been another wild month in the wild west of crypto. We're gonna look, of course, as a priority, all the news that came out in the last month, and I believe are worth mentioning. We're gonna look at some charts, mainly Ethereum and Bitcoin, and what are the highest probability scenarios. I'm gonna also share like some of my portfolio and how I think about uh, proceeding in these market conditions, and what is my split between cash and outs and Bitcoin and Ethereum at this moment. And just I'm gonna walk you through my thought process and what I call my no regret strategy from now on, because you've probably seen we have quite a lot of developments on the fundamental side and on the general economy side. So let's just start with some key news. First one I would want to start is with big tech. Most of the big tech companies already reported, and except for Apple, most others, especially Meta, were quite bad, quite down, and it seems like this trend of bad earnings might not be just the end of it. You know, Q4 and Q1 for next year could also look quite bad, and we might see some more downside. And also, when we have such kind of Fed that is still quite hawkish, and there's like we have a long way to go according to their thinking, and they're ready to even hike the rates higher. I think we have a double-edged sword here, because at the same time we also have the economy doing pretty well, I would say, with the hiring and the new jobs that are still on the increase. And this might be a little bit tricky situation, because we have positive situations on one side, some positive signs that the market takes, and it's very hopeful. You know, we had a reaction right after the job report. The S&P spiked quite a bit, but also after the speech of the Fed chairman, you saw also quite the sell-off. So the market is reacting quite volatile as usual in the last few months, with every piece of event or article that comes out. So I'm still very cautious, and I've mentioned a few times already in chat that I'm cautiously optimistic. And the main reason is, mainly the Fed and also earnings, which are, I think, significant concern. On the other front, we also have Elon buying officially Twitter, and this started a lot of, there was a whole saga around Elon as usually, but finally they finalized the deal, and we had a massive pump, I would say, in most Elon-related coins, including Dogecoin. So it will be very interesting, at least in my perspective, to see how Elon will manage Twitter and what will be his target for decentralizing it and limiting, the centralization of such kind of social media. I think he has the potential to do something good for the overall crypto industry with this one. Let's just see that if he will do it actually. I'm keeping a close eye on this one, because I really think it could be a start of something greater, and maybe even a brand new bull trend, just because Elon is, his power right now is ever growing, in my opinion, and I believe that he has the ability to shift narratives. So let's see. It will be very interesting. Something that I wanted to show you also on the news front is Lebanon is pretty much in spiraling inflation out of control, and a lot of people there are turning to crypto. And although this is just one article out of many that sometimes I share with you every once in a while, this for me is what crypto is for, and this is why we're seeing growing adoption. Small steps, very small steps. This is not going to cause a bull market in crypto, but overall, when we look into the future, 10 years from here, I think this is where crypto will find most of its value for such countries like Lebanon. And I think I'm personally very excited, and I think it will be great times to live in, because for I don't know, maybe for a first time, the normal people will actually have ways to counter the measures that stupid government can implement on them. And this for me is freedom, and it's very exciting, obviously. With that said, let's jump into some charts, and let's jump right into Bitcoin. I've mentioned already that I've closed my shorts on Ethereum and Bitcoin. These were the hedges, and here on the touch of the 100-day moving average, I closed it. On Bitcoin, I'm quite happy. I have some gains. I locked up quite a lot of gains here in this area on the short, and even this close on 21,000 was still in profit. So, I'm ready to accumulate more Bitcoin with this cash, and of course with more cash that I'll be putting into. And actually, you're seeing that the last few days we're breaking above the 100-day moving average, but we have quite a lot of resistance here above us. I think these are the key levels that we should look at. First is 23,000, because this is the prior pivot high. And until now, we really don't have a higher high compared to, if we go to the weekly chart, you can see this very clearly. We still don't have a higher high. And that's why I'm, again, cautiously optimistic, because we're nowhere near out of a bear market. But still, it's a very good sign that price is showing some strength here. And potentially what I'm seeing is that if this rally has a bit more juice, we could probably test this area of around 22.5, even maybe 24,000 here in the 200 moving daily moving average. This is something that I think it's less probable, but when we look at ETH in a bit, you see that it's currently testing the 200-day moving average. And as I've mentioned, ETH in the past, I would say few months, has been weirdly leading the way on Bitcoin. Maybe it's the sign of the flippening that some Ethereum maxis are talking. I personally don't think it will happen, but it's worth following this and seeing that we have such kind of environment where ETH is actually leading the way. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Bitcoin reach somewhere around here if we have, of course, continuation, because next weeks are very, very significant also on the macro front. We have the midterm elections. We also have CPI data again coming out. So it will be very dynamic next few weeks, and the markets will be very volatile. But I think this is the more bullish scenario for now. And of course, the question is, if we get there, are we going to be able to have first the higher high that we just discussed, and then on the way back, because markets don't just go straight up, if we're going to be able to keep these levels around here, around 22, 23K, to have another lower high here. This will be, I think, a positive sign. I wouldn't be very excited. Obviously, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, the bear market is over, because this entire range here could be very choppy and it could take quite a while to get out of it. But still, if we start seeing something like an ascending triangle and a potential to break above, let's say, 25K here, this area, this could be definitely a positive sign overall for the crypto market. That's pretty much I would say the bullish case, not even the base case. The base case for me is more chop. So in this area, we could do this for quite a while here, even if we don't break 18K, because for now it's been a lot of buying power on this area right here. But I think that if we chop around, we could still get close to this level one more time. And this would be actually the moment where I would start accumulating more Bitcoin and Ethereum. And if we have the other scenario, if we are expecting a potential breakout, then maybe I'll be taking the 25K breakout on the previous scenario. Let me just draw it up again. So if you have something like this, potentially as a trade, I would be taking a position here on Bitcoin. And as an accumulation play, if we are stuck in this area, I'm totally fine with starting to accumulate Bitcoin in this area. And even if we break down, if we have the third scenario, obviously, that was most probable, in my opinion, somewhere up until around here in October, where we had lower highs all the way. We were squeezing into this level and we had the bearishness on the macro side. There was a high probability to break the 18K area. I think this is getting less and less probable, but still I'm not excluding it. And even if I start accumulating somewhere in this area around 20K, I'm okay averaging down and getting heavier here on the size if we really get this juicy level that everyone pretty much is talking about, 14K, 12K. That's why I'm kind of thinking it's getting a crowded trade and potentially less and less probability of this playing out. With Ethereum, as I mentioned, it's kind of leading the way. And as you can see here, it's testing the 200 daily moving average. If we jump onto the weekly chart, also you'll see that we have the same structure. We still don't have a higher high here on the weekly. And that's what, again, I'll be looking for. Ethereum, I think, will be huge in the future just because of the ecosystem. And one of the main narratives that I'm going to talk about again in this video, which is layer 2 solutions, solutions, and also the interconnectivity between different blockchains. I think these will be two very strong narratives, and we're already starting to see the signs of this. And obviously, Ethereum is a key player. So even if you don't get the winning L2 solutions on the next bull run, I think Ethereum will definitely be a winner and in any case. So a clear level for me here is around 1800 and also the 200-day moving average. You can see here plenty of reactions, and again, very busy area for Ethereum, somewhere around here. Even if we break above this, last time when the merge happened right here, 2000 is also around emotional number, and we already had quite a few reactions here. So again, very, very choppy area. And once we get out of it and we confirm that we're out of it, that's where I'm going to start, taking a trade on Ethereum separate from an accumulation, and very similar to Bitcoin. If you break down here and we hold up even in this higher area, around above 1400, I'm again totally fine if we are accumulating here, and I'm okay with starting to accumulate a little bit more Ethereum. However, when I'm saying accumulation of Ethereum and Bitcoin, I think it's worth mentioning what kind of percentages we're talking about here. Because for some, it's like 5%. For some, it's like they're Bitcoin maxis and they want to have like 100% of their portfolio in Bitcoin. I have a kind of a different strategy, and I just wanted to share it with you. I've been thinking about this for quite a while. And so let me just write down here what is my current portfolio allocation. So I have around 30, I will round it up because obviously this is very dynamic. I have around 30% of BTC. I have around 27%, I would say, right now of ETH. And also I have around 3 or 4% currently in outs. And when I say outs, these are primarily right now Sol. I have some DOT, and also the new position that I initiated on Optimism. And the rest is cash. What is that? It's like around 40% out. Just round it up here. If they don't add up to 100, don't judge me. So I have around 40% cash, and this number could get a lot bigger because this is just my current portfolio allocation that is dedicated to crypto. But obviously, every single month, I have been adding to my cash position for crypto, and I have a different cash position that I'm ready to deploy additionally to all of this, if of course the conditions are right. So my thinking here is that I'll be averaging in Bitcoin and Ethereum a lot less compared to the previous cycle. The previous cycle was mainly for me Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I was mainly focusing on this. And actually this split was quite different. I had more like 70%, I would say, in Ethereum and Bitcoin, even more at some point. And then on altcoins, I was allocating just around 10 to 15% best case scenarios for altcoins. And then the rest, I was keeping mostly cash for different trading opportunities. What my strategy would be going forward is from this 40% cash that I'm currently sitting in, I want to start accumulating a lot of altcoins. And when I say a lot, I've been doing the research. Obviously, I've been sharing a lot of it with you guys, and I will continue sharing all of the things that I'm researching and looking into. But I want to start building core positions in different projects, like, for example, Optimism. And maybe I will add to Solana and DOT. These were my older backs, and I'm just riding them for the long term, and I'm just taking these, and I believe they will have future. But layer 2 solutions like Starkware, when it comes out, their token, Optimism. Just this weekend, I was looking into Nexo, which is a centralized finance platform, and there are just many other, like GMX is another one that I've mentioned to you guys. I want to build like probably 10 to 15 accumulation tokens, which will take out of this cash position around 30%. So I want to bring my altcoin exposure to around 30 to 35% of my overall portfolio. And that will include if the portfolio grows. I just want to scale into more outs. And obviously, if some of them blows up and this turns into like 60% of my portfolio, I'll be scaling out. But that is what I will be aiming for, like 30 to 35% in different out projects. For some, this is quite risky. For some, it's just business as usual. It really depends on your risk profile and your history of trading in crypto or whatever. For me, I'm just fine with my Bitcoin and Ethereum exposure. And I will continue building in some here, but a lot less compared to the altcoin positions. And then the remaining 10% of the cash that I'll be holding is mainly for, I would say, different, not experiments, but different things that I believe I can get better at. Like, for example, shorting and, more of a day trades and short-term trades, because mostly I'm a swing trader. I like to just buy Optimism here at this level that it is and forget about it for a few months. And then once it starts rolling, if it does, of course, I might scale in a little bit more. Or if you get a nice washout and it holds support, I can, again, buy a little bit more. And then if we get a nice bull run, I can be scaling out of it incrementally, and I'll be totally fine with carrying this risk. However, for the 10% of cash that I was just mentioning, I want to look into some short-term trades, like we tried with IMX short, like with AXS. ENS was another position that was more like a short-term trade for me. So I'm still hunting for those. I'm not overexcited in this market conditions because obviously it's really hard, but I think it's also the perfect conditions to fine-tune my skills, to also fine-tune my mental game, because that's extremely critical in this type of environment. And that's what I'm going to be using the 10% cash from now on. Okay, so this is my portfolio allocation. Obviously, if you have any questions about it specifically, let me know. We can discuss it, and let's jump into some altcoin action, guys. I'm seeing a question about Dogecoin in chat, so let's just start with this one because it had an Elon effect last few weeks. It really had a party. Dogecoin, a lot of speculation obviously in this one, and from the breakout here it had a massive like 150% in these market conditions. That's quite a lot, and it actually topped out somewhere in the middle of nowhere. We didn't even touch this level of resistance, but that's totally normal. Once you have 3 or 4 or 5 candles here in a row that are green, especially with a parabolic one, don't expect it to just continue going parabolic. And usually this is a great sign. Although this is a meme coin, although it was triggered by a lot of speculation and Elon actually buying Twitter, that's a great sign. This means that there's a lot of money to be made in the market. And if you're tuned into this, I personally did miss this. I knew that there was a potential for the deal of Twitter to be finalized, but to be honest, I was, very busy at work, and I didn't have the time to kind of dig down deep into Dogecoin and just think about it. But that's fine. I missed this opportunity. It's fine. I'm not ready to risk that much anyway in this kind of environment. However, if it consolidates in this area and we see a potential for another breakout, this will definitely be something that I might be interested in, because I think Dogecoin will have some legs, especially if Elon or Twitter come up with some kind of announcement that it might actually be using it for some kind of payment method on Twitter. So this will be very interesting to monitor, because this is a complete meme coin, but still might become something real with the power of the richest man on earth. So definitely it's not, I think it's foolish to completely disregard it. And that's why I'm definitely keeping an eye on this one. There was a series of other meme coins that popped. I'm not going to get into those. Even Shiba had a little bit of a run here following Doge. But still, we are in this environment where a lot of people get burned, especially retail investors. They buy the top because they think it will go higher. And just have to be aware of this. And I had actually a question from someone in the community saying that somewhere around here, somewhere around 12 cents Dogecoin, the person was at break even. So this means he bought somewhere either here on the parabola and didn't sell, or somewhere in the back of this trend and was holding through months and months of bearishness. And now the first time he's seeing green in his portfolio. So I'm sure there are many more people like this one. So just be careful of this and be aware, and just make sure you have good risk management. That's I think the most important. And that's why I've been hesitant to take some trades that we're going to discuss. But before that, let me just show you something. Band had a really nice pop here. And this was actually one of my older backs that I was holding, I don't know, for quite a while. I was down like really, really bad on this one, like 80% or 90%. It had a pop and I sold my back here. Two very important things here. First of all, I cleaned up my portfolio of all of those older backs, and that's why you see this distribution for cash position is much higher than it was before. But also, Band had an announcement that they will be working, I think it was with Cosmos, on interconnectivity of the blockchain and scaling solutions. And if Band, pretty much a dead project, has such kind of a pop on such kind of news, imagine when the good projects start getting into the action and actually the whole market catches on this train of the layer 2 solutions. I think this is a very good sign for the narrative that I'm talking about for quite a while now. So just keep an eye on this. Obviously, it's impossible to take action on all kinds of projects that are popping up. So just, pick your poison, as I like to say, and do your research. And I'm sure that you will be able to find the gold projects beyond, all of the projects out there. There are just thousands and thousands of crypto projects already. So just keep an eye there. And another one that we've discussed is Deso. It didn't have a pop, but if the Elon and the centralized social media narrative starts playing out, I think this type of projects could also be very, very popular. And as you can see here, after the pop it's kind of fading out. I would love for it to kind of hold this level and not just fade out out of existence, back into these levels. But if it holds up, I think it could be potentially a good setup, maybe for another leg up, and potentially a good setup here to break out and take this trade. We'll see. We have to really track these narratives, especially now in the bear market. Let me just look into XRP, because you also mentioned it in chat. XRP is one that is still consolidating. I saw a news article saying that the SEC, I think, was asking for a delay on the court solution. I didn't read the article very, very carefully, but I glanced over, and there would be a delay here. So I'm not clear if this is a good or bad news. But as you can see, the XRP army is holding up this level around 44, 45 cents. And if this thing consolidates around this level and potentially we have a catalyst with the court case, yeah, definitely. Although I'm not a fan personally of XRP, if we get a trade here with a good risk to reward setup somewhere in this area, and we have something like this, Let me just draw it. Just higher highs, higher lows here. Sorry, not higher highs, but equal highs squeezing into this level of resistance. I think this would definitely could be a good setup, especially if we get a positive outcome for XRP from the court case. This could really send it flying because it's been heavy on this token for quite a while already. And as price targets, probably $1 will be the major one here. And then, this level here around 1.4, I think is also very significant. And if we break out also, if you want to have some shorter term targets, somewhere around 80 cents, 1618 extension, I think is also a valid one. But I would look for confluences, and really, this is more of a ride or die type of trade setup, just because of the case that is pending, and it could really send it flying, but it could also kill it. So I would just be very careful with it and take it potentially as a trade. Another interesting one is Matic. Matic's been a freaking beast in the past months. They've had so many announcements and partnerships with it was with Disney, and it was Starbucks, now Facebook and Meta actually are using Matic to launch their NFTs. To be able to use NFTs on their platforms. I'm a little bit salty that I didn't start accumulating in this area. I was looking at it. I was like, I want to have some Matic, but again, I might want to be a little bit more patient with it. But if it comes back and retests, I'll definitely be scaling into some Matic because it's one of my top tier tokens for the 35% cash that I'm holding in my portfolio. And I just definitely want to have a big fat Matic position for the next bull run. Another narrative that might be playing out is the World Cup. For those that don't know, the World Cup this year is in Qatar, Qatar, how you pronounce it, and it's in November, in about 2 weeks' time, which is very weird. It's usually during the summer, but because the weather there is very hot, they decided to do it in November. And there are a couple of tokens to watch there. One is Algo, and Algo is breaking out, and we discussed this in chat that I personally don't like the risk to reward here. And just as you can see, the wicks here just signal me that there's still a lot of selling pressure. And you could use a good risk to reward if you like to take the trade. You can have, even from this level, if we go down to the daily chart, to the hourly chart, you could still place your stop just below the breakout level, somewhere around here, like 8-10%, and just take the breakout here. Or add to your position, somewhere around here. However, when I look at the daily chart, you'll see that there's so many green days in a row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. And before that, pretty much almost all green. And we don't really have a pivot low until somewhere around here, which is pretty much the bottom of the accumulation range. And I don't want to be risking this much because this is, even from the breakout here, this is like 30% down. And even if this is a good setup, and even if it plays out, still, I'm cautiously optimistic, and I want to protect my downside. You can place, again, as I mentioned, the stop somewhere around here, 15%, which is still good. But ideally, I just want it to hang out around here and tell me that it's not just going to pump and dump in the next few days. And if it holds up and maybe retest this level again, then maybe I would be adding it just as a speculation play for the World Cup. But right now, it's just not according to my taste. But if you have taken this, congrats, you're already in profit, obviously. And definitely this has some momentum that can show in the future. Another one on the World Cup is Chile's. And as you can see, this very similar picture, it's starting to catch up. A lot of people are starting to talk about this narrative. And it just had a breakout somewhere around here. I was watching this also on these levels. Let me just show you. There was a descending triangle that it broke out of a few days ago. But again, similar setup. We really don't have a slowdown in the last few weeks. And again, for me, the setup is kind of risky with 30% downside risk, not according to my taste. But this is another one to watch for the World Cup, because Chile's pretty much make the club tokens for different clubs in Europe, like Real Madrid and so on. Very popular clubs have fan tokens with Chile's, so definitely an eye to keep on this one. A few others that's worth mentioning, obviously optimism. I took a couple of positions here. I'm pretty much averaging into this position. I was watching this back here and I wanted to add a little bit, but I was stingy because I was like, maybe it won't hold. Maybe it will go back to these levels. But actually, this is a very good sign and a kind of confirmation that this coin has potential. I still haven't done the full research. Next week, I will focus on this one and I'll share everything with you guys. But as you can see on the weekly, it's starting to at least have higher lows here, at least for now. And it's showing relative strength compared to many other tokens out there. And if it continues building up, so I won't be keen to add on these levels here. But if we have something like this, and pretty much this will be the philosophy behind all tokens that I'm going to be accumulating. So if we have a breakout, I'm ready to add a full size position here. And if we see that this will be kind of an accumulation and maybe we chop around here, or maybe even we break lower, I'm also really keen to kind of add a little bit more to this position and make it a little bit bigger on my out portfolio. Another one that has been showing some strength is BNB. I really don't like the valuation of BNB. It's quite high on the market cap, but still a very valid setup, a lot of strength. Actually, you can see here that there was a good risk to rewards, but this happened when I was sleeping, and I don't really like chasing candles that are 7 or 8% up on a day. It hasn't retested yet. Maybe I might add if it retests, but again, I'm very careful because we do have quite a lot of fake outs, and one of the last one that I took was ENS, and it was playing out great, and then it just faked out. I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like this. Okay, guys, we will be rounding up the call. If you have any questions, let me know. I might just show you another few setups that I'm looking at. AVAX is another one that's playing with the 100-day moving average. Had a fake out yesterday, but still not a bad risk to reward here. So if we take the break of the 100-day moving average around 12% here to the pivot low, to make around 25% to the first target on the 200-day moving average, and then potentially here to the $30 level is the key one, around 50%. So that's another that I'm watching. Link is also on my accumulation watch list. It's been forming higher lows all the way here. And yeah, it's been in this range, but it's been showing some good strength. And I think it will have some legs in the future. So I definitely like this one. GMX is one I've mentioned. I still haven't started accumulating. You see, it's flirting with the 100-day moving average. I still want to see what's going to happen here. Potentially, if it breaks somewhere around here, $43, $44 level, I might add. And also, if it breaks down and really gets another level down below $30, I might also be a buyer of this one. What else? Let me just scroll through the charts and see if there's something interesting. Another one that I wanted to show you, it's really a meme trade, but just want to put it on your radar. This is Luna, and obviously we all know what happened to Luna. Pretty much went down 99.9%. But I'm starting to see a pattern here that could potentially make Luna the next meme trade. I just want to show it to you. Obviously, this is high risk, but as you can see here, we had after the initial pop here, after the massive breakdown, we had an accumulation forming here for quite a while. This was like 3 months in accumulation. And then we had a pop, and this pop was like 300% in just a couple of days. I'm starting to see the same pattern developing here. I just wanted to put it on your watch list, guys. because this could be like Dogecoin was trading like this in the past. You would see nothing from Doge, then it will have a pop for a few days, then complete retrace, and then those that were aware of this were making a lot of money, because just in a few days you make like 2 or 3x on your money, you sell it, and then you play the game again. So what could be a low risk here and high return is to accumulate somewhere in this area, have a stop loss somewhere around here. So below the 100-day moving average, somewhere in this area, like 13% down. And if you really want to be, risking a lot, here is the level that I would say is the key one that might not return from it, but it's still 40% down. So I would keep it strict just because of the risk profile of this token. You have like 15% risk to make potentially like 150% gains in just a few days, even if we don't reach the highs here from the previous pump. So definitely keep an eye on this. I still haven't bought any. I'm not sure even if I will alert it if I buy some, because it's really a risky play. But maybe some YOLO dollars, just throw some in that you're ready to lose 100%. But again, you might make quite a significant chunk in a short period of time. I don't see any other questions on the queue, guys. So maybe we can wrap it up here. Thanks for everyone that joined. And of course, if you have any other questions, you know how to find me as usual. See you guys.